Hello, my little Luxes. This is Charcy Lux, and welcome to another little channel of horrors. And with me is my best friend and partner in crime.
GC, I'm putting up my hair because my hair is not cooperating today. So, okay.
I think
And
he's
I want
being
to do the
fussier about
whole
his hair than I am. So,
I want to do the whole Norman Reedus thing. Look at that. See, that's much better. Now I look like Andrade. Only a few people are going to know who I'm talking about. So,
oh, no, well, I think a lot of people know who you're talking about because Norman Reedus is now popular because of The Walking
no,
Dead.
I
So,
said
not
Andrade.
for.
I said I look like Andrade. No one knows who Andrade is.
That's true. But you also said Norman Reedus. So.
Yeah. I said Norman Reedus. I got to do the Norman Reedus thing. But old
But he's
Norman.
also in the film that it's a very small role, but the film that we did this time, which is Mimic,
Yeah.
which is one of my top favorite films. And it also was one of the films that was in the survey that we had just recently done.
Yes. And yeah, Norman Reedus, very small role, also his first ever role in a movie. This was pre motorcycle wreck Norman Reedus. So this was model Norman Reedus back when he was a model for it was like Calvin Klein, I think. He was a
Yeah,
model
I
for
think
Calvin
so.
Klein. Yeah, and he got in a motorcycle wreck, had to have facial reconstructive surgery, and now he looks like what he looks like now. So he
Hmm.
went from pretty boy to this scruffy looking nerf herder. Works.
I still think he's pretty.
Yeah, he's still kind of pretty. But yeah, he went from model to scuzz. So or scud
Good,
or whatever his
good.
name was. But
Which, ironically enough, wasn't Blade 2 that he was in, wasn't, didn't Del Toro also do that one? Because I mean,
he did Blade
obviously,
2.
Guillermo Del Toro did Mimic, but yeah,
Mhm.
I thought he did Blade 2 as well.
He did Blade 2 and yeah, he was yeah. I mean, he did a good job with Blade 2. That was, and I've heard a lot of people
Mhm.
not like Blade 2, and I'm like, that's like easily the best one. Like it's not even
I've
close.
heard a lot of people
Yeah.
prefer the second one, or their favorite one is the second one, I should
Yeah.
say. My favorite one's still the original one,
Yeah.
but a lot of people prefer the second one. But obviously, like we were just saying, Mimic was done by Guillermo del Toro back in '97. And this film is one of those films where if you're going to watch it, you better watch the director's cut because the director's cut is actually del Toro's actual vision of what he wanted for the movie. Because the theatrical version was unfortunately the Weinstein's version of what they wanted the movie to be. And the entire time, Del Toro fought with the Weinsteins on his vision of the film. And apparently, there were two separate crews. There was the first crew, which would have been Del Toro's doing the directing and the filming, and then there was the Weinsteins. So you literally had two separate crews making completely different films, which is like mind boggling to me in the first place. So, and for the first time last night, I had started watching the theatrical version because I'm like, what is the difference? Because the only one I've ever seen was the director's cut, which thank God, because the theatrical one, I couldn't even get through the entire thing. I'm just like, no, I really have an interest to see this one. So,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But
mhm,
this is also Guillermo del Toro's first ever Hollywood film. So
mhm.
Blade 2 being the second. And he has done interviews. Guillermo del Toro is not a man that likes to speak ill of people, but this is the movie that he said is the worst experience of his filmmaking life because
Mhm.
the Weinsteins were impossible to deal with. They would show up at random times and say, "No, that's not scary enough. You need to reshoot it." And Guillermo del Toro is like, "I'm not here to make a scary movie. I'm here to
Mhm.
make the movie I want to make." And it's yeah, because it is based off a short story. So um, there are three different endings to this freaking film. One of them that didn't even get filmed. So it's yeah, it was a mess. The whole thing was, I mean, and you can tell even watching the director's cut is still it's a mess of a film. Like it is there are confusing parts. They're just like,
Mhm.
why did that happen? and there is child death, which is that's a little
which
strange, but
is exactly why Del Toro wanted to do that. Which, you know what, thinking about it, he does do that in a lot of his films, because he also did Pan's Labyrinth, and we know how that went with certain things. So
it was a very depressing movie. So
dark, bleak, but well done. And I mean, if you ever want to see one of his masterpieces, you should see Pan's Labyrinth. But
I will say that of all of the Guillermo del Toro movies, this is easily the weakest film he has. This is not the best movie in the world, but to have this,
I don't fault him for that either. Yeah,
that's not bad to have Mimic be the weakest film. That's Mimic is like what's his name, or Michael Bay or Uwe Boll could only dream of making a movie as good as Mimic, and this is Guillermo del Toro's worst film, and it's the Weinstein's fault that it's so bad. It's not that it's a bad movie, it's just so messy. It's just the cuts are weird, and it's
controversy, too much, and
it's
too much needing to fight with them.
Yeah, you need to have caffeine in your system if you're going to watch this movie, because it is the very definition of a slow burn. I will fully admit that I fell asleep last night watching it and had to watch it again today.
It's a 2-hour movie, and slow. I'm into the artistic, slow moving type of films. So
also Josh Brolin in the movie, which is everyone
one of his earliest roles too.
Yeah, I have a small crush on Josh Brolin. Thanos, Cable, he was in the Goonies. It's just like he's so awesome, and his father is Amityville's James Brolin. So and I have a very big love for James Brolin. I mean, I try to do the beard after James Brolin sometimes. So, because he didn't do a lot of films after Amityville.
No,
James Brolin did a few, but he married Barbara Streisand. You don't need money anymore. You married Barbara Streisand. So, good on you, dude. But I couldn't do it. No. So it's like but I'm a huge fan of Greg Allman, or I think it was Greg Allman, and he married Cher or something like that. And I'm like, no, dude, that's not where it's at. I don't marry plastic. God, I'm gonna get hate for that one.
I like Cher. Oh my God. Hey, if someone wants to get plastic surgery, that's their choice. So
God.
Back to Josh Brolin though. You want to talk about Del Toro actually giving somebody praise. He flat out said that he loved working with Josh Brolin. He probably was one of the most fantastic people he's ever worked with, and especially back on that film, because he's like, he wanted him to be one of the main characters in the film, but once again, one of the things fighting with the Weinsteins and how much the script kept being changed, he goes, unfortunately, Josh Brolin's character kept getting shorter and shorter lines, and we all know how his character kind of ends. But he's one of the best deaths, though. It's like phenomenal how they filmed that. It shouldn't be spoilers because it's a movie from '97, but the way that he's trying to get away from one of these insects, and that he's trying, and you think he's going to get away, you don't get to see it, but you get to assume that his body's cut in half. So
and then, I mean, knowing what we know now, Mira Sorvino having the prominent role that she had, like, we know why she had it. She is one of Harvey Weinstein. Sorry, I do not have a voice. I lost it last night watching pro wrestling.
Somebody was screaming at a show.
Yeah, I was screaming at a show last night. But Mira Sorvino was one of Harvey Weinstein's girls that he unfortunately what was it they said that it wasn't
took advantage of.
Cool. Yeah, took advantage of, coerced, she is one of his victims, and she became that way from her movie Mighty Aphrodite, who apparently she may have been a victim of what's his face, the director of Mighty Aphrodite too, the guy who married his daughter.
We have to look that up because that I don't know about that actually.
Yeah,
I also know that Mira Sorvino is the reason why, because Del Toro, I want to say it was Harvey Weinstein the whole entire time. Yeah, Harvey Weinstein was the one that kept trying to threaten to fire Del Toro because he didn't want to listen to him. And it was Mira Sorvino. Wow, I can't say her last name now.
Mira Sorvino.
Sorvino.
Woody Allen.
And
Woody Allen was the director. She
yes,
made
okay, yeah, he's no. Ugh.
But she won an Oscar for Mighty Aphrodite.
Yes.
So,
and it's because of that role and what she was that she was able to talk them into keeping Del Toro, because she's like, you need to start doing his vision or I'm out. I'm gone. So it's because of her pull that Del Toro was actually able to even pull off what vision he wanted to have for his film. So,
and Mira Sorvino kind of disappeared after this film. She did Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion. That was about it, because she was one of the first ones to be like, Harvey Weinstein's a piece of crap, I'm out.
Yeah.
And
of course we know how that goes.
Yeah, she got blackballed with Ashley Judd and tons of actresses who would have been massive in the 90s and the early 2000s had Harvey Weinstein not been a piece of absolute human excrement. So yeah, but and I mean but you can't, like, because he did bring us every single Quentin Tarantino movie, almost every single Kevin Smith movie. And Kevin Smith even's like, I had no idea. Like, he was such a joy to work with.
Behind the door. Yeah. He was doing it behind closed doors.
But since then, though, Kevin Smith has any movie that came out in the Weinstein era, pretty much everything in the View Askew universe, every dime of that he makes off of Clerks, Clerks 2, Clerks 3, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, every dime he makes off residuals goes to abuse charity. So it's like he did it right, and I'm sure Quentin Tarantino probably did the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
which Quentin Tarantino, back when they were filming Mimic, he was dating Mira.
He was dating Mira Sorvino at the time, yeah. And he worked with Josh Brolin as well in Planet Terror, even though that was Robert Rodriguez's movie. Quentin Tarantino was a part of it. And Quentin Tarantino was another one who said that Josh Brolin was just an absolute pleasure to work with. Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool, said that he is an absolute treasure to work with. You can look it up online right now. Go in there and look up anything, and you will never see one negative word ever said about Josh Brolin. Even the Goonies, they were just like, he was a pleasure to work with. All the kids loved him. Corey Feldman loved him. I mean, not Corey Feldman, Corey Haim. Sorry.
No, it was Feldman.
It was Feldman.
Feldman was Goonies.
Yeah, Corey, because it was Sean Astin in the Goonies, not Corey. I get Sean Astin and Corey Haim. And anytime I think of Corey Feldman, I think of Corey Haim. It's like, in my brain,
for that.
In my brain, I feel like they never did a movie without the other. And then there's the Goonies. So, and it's like, and Goonies is one of my favorite movies, but like everyone was just said he's a joy to work with. And that's something that I liked here. It's like when you hear like Tom Hanks and stuff like that, like, oh, they're just great people. And Josh Brolin is one of those. And he 9 times out of 10 plays a bad guy. He always plays a bad guy. He's Cable. He's Thanos. He's a fucking bad guy. Except I don't think Thanos was a bad guy. I don't think Thanos did anything wrong. He was trying to save the world by wiping out half civilization. Good on him. It would have saved the world. He did nothing wrong. But yeah, he was Cable. So awesome, man. He said he's kind of a bad guy in the Goonies. He's the bully older brother.
Older teenage brother.
Yeah. And but he is sort of an antagonist in the beginning, by not letting them do their thing. And he's and his dad is an excellent freaking possessed man. Oh, James.
I'm sure Josh Brolin would do just as good of a job, though, if he ever got to. It's one of those things, like, it's kind of disappointing that with the remake of the Amityville Horror that they didn't pull him in, because it would have been interesting if he would have done it. Yeah.
I would have done Josh Brolin for that. Like, even though Ryan Reynolds did a great job. Ryan Reynolds,
the right age.
I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I actually prefer the remake with Ryan Reynolds over the original. It's just a scarier movie. Amityville, now Amityville Horror, that was a freaking classic. Like, I love that movie. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying that's a bad movie. A lot of people do think it's a bad movie. I think it's wonderful. But it was much scarier with Ryan Reynolds, because Ryan Reynolds plays a crazy guy really well. So he could have
very well.
He's actually his acting is very underrated. So because he is now typecast as the funny guy, and he is screwed. Same thing with Kevin Hart. He's screwed. The Rock's screwed. John Cena screwed. They're all stuck where they're at now. Good on you. That's why Batista
in that error.
Batista's the smart one. He's like, I don't want to do Fast 9. I want to do Dune. It's like, good man. And Batista can act circles around John Cena and The Rock anyway. So whatever. That's a lot. I saw Fast 9 though. Yeah, Fast 9 was good. I liked it a lot. I'll die on that hill that Fast and the Furious is a great series. Okay.
Where I'm just like, I've seen a few of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. There's like some Twitter people, man. Like, I had so many.
Are you getting into arguments again today?
Oh my God, not today over that. No, that ended. But yeah, there's a lot of people that were like, I was like, yeah, I love Fast and Furious. And a lot of people were like, they would seriously come on with snooty comments like, I've never even seen one. And I'm like,
if you've never seen one, dude, then how can you have an opinion on it? I never understand that.
Yeah. I'm like, I haven't seen an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but you know who gives a shit about that? Fucking no one. So I don't care that you've never seen a Fast and the Furious movie. I don't give a shit. Sorry. At least when Sean does it, Sean of the Thread, when he's like, no, I've just never seen one. I'm like, oh, I'm like, cool. He's like, yeah, I don't really have a desire. And I'm like, cool.
Doing it to be mean, like where
he's not
you can tell when someone's being snooty. Yeah, you can tell the difference.
He's just like, no, I just don't really, that's not my type of movie. Cool, man. Good. Yeah. I like the way you answered that. But it's like, some people were just like, you like those movies? I've never even seen one. And I'm like, yeah. And I was the same way until I saw one. And I was like, actually, this is pretty fucking good. Like, I love mindless shit like that. Like, Cliffhanger is one of my favorite fucking movies ever. Cliffhanger is amazing. And it is such a piece of crap.
I've never seen that movie.
Really?
Cliffhanger's... Because that's Tom Cruise, right? Oh, it's Sylvester Stallone. Maybe you've seen that one then.
John Lithgow is the bad guy in it.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I have seen it. It's been a long time though.
Yeah, and then the best one I got was like, the guy was like, oh, those movies are so stupid. And then I went into his profile and it said his favorite movie was Point Break. And I'm like, okay, let me break it down for you. Like, Fast and Furious 1 is about an undercover cop who infiltrates a group of people into extreme sports. It's not surfing, it's street racing. The crew doesn't trust him, but the leader of the crew does trust him. He becomes friends, he gets the girl, the big heist at the end fails, and he has to turn him in, but he doesn't. He lets the bad guy go. And it's like, that's Point familiar. Break and Fast and the Furious. Like, it's the same fucking movie. It's a remake of Point Break, except Paul Walker is not Keanu Reeves, and Vin Diesel will never be Patrick Swayze.
Definitely
not. But we got that's like, and that's why Mimic is such a good movie, is because it came out in a time where this was completely original, and besides the fact that it's from a short story, but it's completely original. Like, we didn't have bugs that evolve into humans. Like, that's
where the Weinsteins wanted it to be about aliens, and that they were the ones pretending to be bugs, and Del Toro's like, no, He's like, they're actually insects. They're not from outer space. These are insects. They're from Earth.
Yeah.
And it's just mind-boggling thinking of all the shit that he had to fight with them on. Like, because he'd originally wanted these bugs to be created by God, which is why throughout the entire film you see these godly like images, and the fact that especially the insects themselves, the Judas bugs, they're called Judas. So they're also supposed to be these fallen angels or archangels, which I think the Chinese even call them that in the director's cut, where they're implying that these look like evil angels, and that in Del Toro's eyes, these were supposed to be the new things that humans have now fallen. He doesn't want humans anymore. He now favors insects. So now insects are evolving and they're becoming the next top line of the food chain and everything else. So, but of course, the Weinsteins didn't want that. So he had to go with the scientific type of idea because scientists had to create it. Yeah.
They met in the middle. And then, I mean, he even had the ending mapped out and a sequel mapped out. I mean, he had the ending to the sequel ready to go. And it was just, it didn't work out. I mean, the ending, he was supposed to have it to where the bugs could completely become looking like a human form, and then they acquire
anyway.
Yeah, and then they acquire the power of speech. It's like at the very end of the movie, the Mira Sorvino comes in and sees the bug, and he just says, "Get out." And that's supposed to be the end of the sequel. It was like the end of the sequel is the bugs win, and if you know Guillermo del Toro, he loves bleak endings. Oh my God, he loves bleak endings. You gotta check out, if you think that Pan's Labyrinth is a bleak ending, you gotta check out like Devil's Backbone. And it's wow. Even Blade 2 had a bleak ending. And you're just
I mean, Pan's Labyrinth, it's not technically bleak because even though she's dead, technically it gets to be where she can be happy with
and
Pan.
The bad guy definitely gets his at the end of that film.
Yeah.
But it's just, oh my, I mean, good Lord. He's it's great. Don't get me wrong. I love his depressing movies. It's just, man, that man's and
he's an artistic movie. Yeah, it is a very artistic movie and I love the puppets that they created with this. It had very little CGI, like very little. I think he even said there's like maybe 75 shots with CGI, and that's about it. Otherwise, they're puppeteers. And some of the scenes, I think it was the scene where at the abandoned train station, when they're attacking the train car, the old abandoned train car that they're hiding in, that just for one puppet alone that was attacking the car, I think he said like 16 puppeteers had to work each part to this thing. So, I mean, that's pretty cool though.
It's like, that's why way back in the day, like when they were talking about making The Hobbit, if you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, I'm sorry, I'm about to go on a Lord of the Rings rant, but I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan. And when they talked about making The Hobbit, I was so excited. Yes, they're making The Hobbit. 2 years later, like, okay, Peter Jackson's done with the screenplay. And I'm like, yes, all right. A year later, the director has been found. It's Guillermo del Toro. And I'm like, so you got a Peter Jackson written movie with a Guillermo del Toro direction. I'm like, this is going to be the perfect film. And then Guillermo del Toro dropped out, and it's like, oh, and Peter Jackson went with it. But Guillermo del Toro made some changes to the script, and he went with Guillermo del Toro's changes, which is awesome. So whenever you watch The Hobbit, it actually has produced and written screenplay written by Guillermo del Toro. So it's like, yes. And I still love The Hobbit. There were a lot of people that were really pissed off about that film. I'm like, I loved all three of them. I'm good. Like, because The Hobbit, the book is like this big. It's tiny. And then it got 3 films, whereas Fellowship of the Rings like this, and it got 1 film. Two Towers like that, and it got 1 film, and Return of the Kings like that, and it got 1 film. And we were like, how do you stretch that out? And they actually took some liberties with the story, but they added some stories from the Silmarillion into it. So it's like, but at that moment, for a good 6 months, I was so jazzed because it was going to be Guillermo del Toro directing The Hobbit, and I would have died. That would have been the best. And then he went on. He's supposed to direct Pinocchio, and I'm like, we're going to have a Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio. All right.
I was gonna say that. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. He may have dropped out of that too. He drops out of a lot of stuff. Sorry.
I do remember him. Okay, so they are gonna do it still,
and it's going to be a musical. Well, it's there. Yeah.
You won't be excited to see that then.
It says it comes out this year. I think it already came out, but so no, I do know. Even if it's Guillermo del Toro, I can't do musicals. I have a thing about people breaking out into song in the middle of a sentence. It bugs the ever loving hell out of me. I'm like, dude, just say what you got to say and then sing. Don't just
bugs you.
Yeah, I'm just no. I can't do it, man. I think that's also why I like Tangled so much, because whenever they have that freaking song,
that fourth wall where he makes fun of it.
It's like, did they just break out in a song with that? And I'm like, yes. But I mean, I do like some music. Cannibal the Musical, I love. Cannibal the Musical is great. Little Shop of Horrors is great. Stuff like that. But like, because with Little Shop of Horrors, it isn't in the middle of sentences. Their sentences are music. So I'm like, all right. And with Cannibal the Musical, it's just hilarious. Every song in that is just hilarious. I love it.
So, off the wall, bad songs.
Yeah. It's very South Parkish. So yeah, you can.
I wonder why.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's from the creators, Trey Parker, Matt Stone. So, and it has all their guys in it. So I love it.
That it does.
Yeah.
But I do remember Del Toro talking about the fact that Mira Sorvino and Jeremy Northam, that they actually didn't get along during the film, even though they were the married couple. But they were, of course, professional, so nobody could tell. So
I think there was another one like that with God, I think it was that was Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue was in a movie once where she didn't get along with her husband. I can't remember what that is though. It isn't Hollow Man because her husband was Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So but Mira Sorvino.
I've heard of several movies like that, especially popular romantic movies where oh shoot, I'm trying to think of it. A Lady and a Gentleman, or what? Oh, I can't think of the name of it now. Yes, An Officer and a Gentleman. The two main characters in that, Richard Gere and can't think of her name. But yeah, they hated each other.
Notebook, that's notorious. Notebook.
Yes.
Ryan Gosling.
They hated each other.
Rachel McAdams really didn't like each other. Like that was like, 50 Shades of Grey.
They hated each other.
Johnson hated her co-star. Like it was like, I can't remember his name. I don't think anyone can. And
they did how many movies?
They did three movies. And it's a stupid thing in the book, in the freaking okay, so if you don't know, 50 Shades of Grey is Twilight fan fiction. That's how it became to be. And recently Twilight did a new book, I forget what it's called, where it's Twilight from Edward's point of view, which is pretty cool. And just recently, E.L. James, the writer of 50 Shades of Grey, created a book called Freed, which is 50 Shades of Grey through Christian Grey's point of view. And it's like, so you're going to flat out copy this Stephanie Meyer again.
Like, and probably make millions off of it.
God, I hate people like that. Like, you're going to just off another author's idea. Like, come on.
And they're letting them get away with it because it's not directly plagiarizing. It's like, you know what, maybe I should make some fanfics of things that I wanted stories to actually pan out.
Yeah. All it was S&M fan fiction with Edward and Bella. So
yeah.
And then she turned it into what it was. But and this is also the first time we have ever done a movie that is based off a book that I haven't read.
Well, there we go. Maybe it's one you should read.
Probably not. I've kind of read into it a little bit, and I can't get past like the first few pages because I'm like, this is really weird written, and I tried.
It's probably going to be very different from the film too. So
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's from what I understand, it's pretty different. So
obviously it was just going to throw it on the spot on you on what our life theme story was going to be with this, because being mimicking things, and of course we kind of had in our very first one with The Thing, which was blending in with people. This one's kind of like we're going to still do the idea with the mimic, because it was a mimic directly thinking of, I'm going to blend in with a predator so that I can get them. So thinking of situations of other people that we've known and had in our lives that were basically faking so that they could be your friend, or pretending to be nice to you, but they were really a piece of shit. So
yeah,
I'm curious to hear your stories.
I'm sure I can think of something, and it's going to involve a woman. Because it's always a woman. With me, it's always women, because I've just been so destroyed by women my whole life, and everyone's like, oh my god, I bet you're so popular with the ladies. No, I'm not. Like, I am not at all. Like, the persona I am on Twitter is me in real life, but in real life this persona is not fun. Like, people are just like, you need to be serious, and I'm like, I can't be serious, it's not in my blood. But
I was gonna say, if someone tells you to be serious, you're like, I'm in my 30s. Fuck off. What you see is what you get.
I mean, oh man, I guess I had a girl date me once just so I would date her friend.
Wow. Yeah. That counts. I think that counts.
Yeah, it was weird. And the best part about it is the friend was hotter. The friend that she wanted me to date was way hotter. It was very much worth it, because I
You
had
need
a
to
crush
tell
on.
the whole story then.
Oh yeah, I had a crush on that chick long before I started dating the other one. I'll leave out names though, because I don't know. Like, but my voice is so shot, man. It's bad. Anyway, but I don't know. I just dated this one chick. She was cool, but we only dated for like 3 months. No, and it was just kind of, I don't know, it was weird. Like, we would make out and stuff. That's fine. But she was always distant, and it was like hard to get her to go hang out and stuff like that. And when we did hang out, she invited her friend with her, and I'm like, okay, cool. But the thing was, like, her friend was cool as hell. So I was like, I'm fine with it. And she was way hotter, and I was like starting to gain a crush on her. So it worked. It's like, and then she broke up with me, and I'm like, okay, whatever, cool. And it was like weeks later, she came in, and I was like, hey, it's my ex, what's up? And she was like, well, actually, I'm here because this chick like wants your number. And I'm like, you have my fucking number. Like, just give it to her.
Give it to her.
And I was like, all right, well, I'll see you later. And I went on to do my job. I was like, I'm out of here. And then, like, I had a text message from her and I didn't answer it for like 2 hours.
Don't want to seem needy.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, I didn't get to it. I didn't even see it for 2 hours.
Oh.
I'm like, oh shit. And she was like, and I think it was like 2 text messages. The first one was like, yeah, so this is, and I'm like, and then it was like, I can see that you don't want to talk to me, so I'll leave you alone. And I'm like,
oh no.
I was no, I was working. Like, I was at work. I was like, I can't really. And she's like, oh, so you want to hang? And we ended up dating for like a while. So it worked out. But she also, and this is where some people who know me will know who she is. And she ended up dumping me for a tattoo artist because she wanted free tattoos. And I'm not saying like this should have happened, and I do feel bad about it, but I'm just saying, like, I don't really believe in karma, but karma might be real, because that dude ended up knocking her up, beating her, and leaving her. Like, well, you shouldn't leave the good guy for the bad guy. And but it kind of was cool, because I became really good friends with her dad, like through UFC. I walked into the house one day, and it was like he was sitting on the relationship between me and her dad is funnier than the actual story. So it was like he was in there watching UFC, and I walked in, and I'm watching it too, and I'm like, oh, watch this. This guy's gonna do this, 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 and this, and then he's gonna win by this method. And it happened, and the guy's like, oh, you know UFC, and I'm like, yeah, and we kind of hit it off. And he like, hey, I gotta show you something. And he like took me up to the room, and I'm like, well, this is where he's gonna get me to talk. He's like, no, check this out. He like pulled out his sniper rifle. He was a sniper in the army. And he was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm like, awesome. And I like came back down and whoa. The girl was like, hey, so where were you? I was like, up there with your dad. He was showing me his sniper rifle. She's like, I've never even seen the sniper rifle. And I'm like, that's pretty nice. You should check it out sometime. Like,
that's so weird.
She'd never seen it. Her mom hated me, but her dad loved me. And what ended up happening is when she left me for that guy, she was living with her parents, and her dad kicked her out of the house. He was like, you're going to leave him for that. Okay, get the fuck out of my house. And she ended up having to move in with the guy, and he knocked her up and abused her and then kicked her out, and she was homeless. And it was like, that's what happens when you leave the good guy for the asshole.
And make
lesson, ladies. To give the good guys a chance. We won't treat you like shit. Like, oh, and no,
you won't become homeless.
Yeah, and like that's why I have posted a meme that it's like, oh, when he sells drugs, has no life ambition, beats you and treats you like crap, and it's a woman standing over a fountain gushing out between her legs. And I'm like, that's exactly it. That's the way it is with women around here. It's why I never had any girlfriends, because they always wanted the bad boy.
The bad boy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm the good guy. I'm the guy that they come to after the bad boy punches him in the eye and is like, hey, yo, he hit me, man. I'm like, well, and then they always used to say, well, I wish I had a guy like you. And it's like, there's a guy like me right here.
Right here.
Yeah. And then, no, you're not attractive enough and you're not dangerous enough. So it's like,
I was going to say, those women are not worth your time.
Oh, yeah. And then, and I meet them later in life and like, oh, my God, you became hot. Because apparently, according to one of my best friends, who is actually my ex-girlfriend, she was like, oh, my God, you became so hot. I'm just saying. I'm like, well, wasn't I like cute or something before? It's just like, yo,
you dated me.
It's like, you were cute, but now you're just, yeah. And I'm like, wonderful. Now I want to go back in time like this and have that personality with these looks and be okay. And it's like, now I have that personality with these looks, but it doesn't work. Ugh, I hate life.
You were happy with your fiance now.
Yeah, of course. I've got like the one person who's actually genuinely a good person. It's like, come on, man. Heck yeah. And she's hot too. That actually helps. Mm-hmm. Looks matter. Don't ever say looks don't matter. Bullshit. Looks matter. Like, but who is attractive to one person may not be attractive to this person. It's like looks matter, but one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Attracted to what you're attracted to.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
So we would have my story.
Go for it.
Mine is technically from the college time. So we all love the college.
I'm raising the roof. College. Woot woot.
Flip, flip. So one of our friends, so when I was in high school, obviously there were several of my girlfriends and I that were close, but didn't realize that, obviously while we were in high school, we were close, but there was a certain girl that behind closed doors would say shit about us behind our backs. But it wasn't until, unfortunately, and it wasn't until after we had all graduated and we're all going to different colleges that all of a sudden she started talking shit about everyone, because of course she's not stuck at the school with us anymore. And she was so much better than the rest of us because she got a cheerleader scholarship and she got to go to Platteville, and she was getting a full ride scholarship. So she was so much better than the rest of us. But the rest of us made the choice and decision that we just wanted to go to community college to get our gen eds done, because we're like, I don't have an interest going to a 4-year college. I want to stay close to home. I want to keep working at the same time, try and make some money on the side. But I was a stupid individual because I wasn't as good as her because I didn't get to go to a fancy 4-year college. Blah. Well, she was one of those, because that also was at the time when Facebook and MySpace was a thing. So you can imagine all the weird posts that she would put up with us and that she would tag us in and all this other weird crap. And although actually now I'm thinking about it, I don't think you could tag people at that point in time. No, I think it was just starting because you could post pictures and you could tag people in the picture. So that was around at that time. And she would say terrible shit about us. And this was around the time that my husband and I had gotten married. And she had been at my wedding. And this was just around the time we were starting to learn that she was saying shit about people behind our backs. And so I had all my wedding pictures up. And all of a sudden, I get text messages from my family members, this and that. And they're like, what is going on? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Hear what she had done. She had gone into almost all of my wedding pictures and she had put comments. So where all my family members are tagged into these wedding pictures and all of my friends, and she's putting up these terrible comments, basically saying like, I'm a terrible person and she was fat shaming me and this and that, saying that I was an alcoholic and this and that. And it's like, mind you, I didn't drink back then at all. Like I had no interest in it. And she was just saying all these horrible, terrible lies about us. And it's like, wow. I'm like, you pretended to be one of our closest friends, but because you went off to college, you think you're better than everyone else. And she put up these terrible, terrible, awful comments on my wedding photos. It was one of those things where it was like, oh, you're fake, like as fake as they come. But just like your story, karma hit her in the ass because she's stupid, like legitimately stupid. So she failed all of her classes at Platteville. When you fail, let me know, do you get to keep your scholarship if you're failing all of your classes?
if that was if you did, I wouldn't have been trying so hard to get so many good grades because I was working off like 6 scholarships. I still owe $70,000.
She failed out of college in 1 year. Actually, not even in 1 year. The first semester. And she got kicked out. She lost all of her scholarships. Her parents wouldn't pay for tuition because Platteville's not cheap. And she ended up coming to the community college that all of the rest of us were at. And now she was stuck with us. And she literally had the audacity to come up to us and try and tell us that she wanted to apologize to us. And we're like, no, fuck you. You're only doing this because now you're stuck here in person with us and having to go to the same college as us. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And to this day, she is fat, overweight, unhappy. She had a terrible marriage. She's already divorced. And she lives in her parents' basement.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's women, man. That's the old adage is like, at least a man will stab you in the front. You know, women ain't gonna do that. women will slit your throat from behind. It's like,
I'm not that way. If I'm upset or mad at you, I will tell it to you face. Yeah. I'm a blunt person.
Well, that's the thing that I was saying earlier. Is like, I don't have a lot of male friends. I have mostly female friends because
I'm the opposite. I have mostly male friends.
Yeah. Well, it's like, because around here you have a lot of alpha male types. Like,
okay.
And it's like, I'm not the alpha male. I'm a very beta male kind of guy. I like to just get along with everybody. And
well, how dare you try to be friends with everyone? Yeah. Oh my God, the fun.
And it's everyone's like, yeah, here we have like UT football. University of Tennessee is humongous and it's like the biggest thing here. And I just don't give a flying fuck about football. It's like, and then people are like, I will watch it. I'll watch it and I'll enjoy it. That's fine. I'll go to a game. That's cool. But around here, we have had teams that go on losing streaks and people will riot in the streets to have the coaches fired. And we have gone through something like 6 coaches and we're still paying off 4 of them. And it's like, we're sitting here having all these coaches and no one wants to coach for us now, whatever. And it's like,
I can understand why.
yeah, because we have a shitty fan base. And if you don't like UT sports around here, it's like, oh, you like basketball? I fucking hate basketball. Shooting a ball in a little hoop does not do it for me. Like, oh, you like football? No, I don't fucking like football. I don't like it. I don't like sports, man. The one sport I like is not available here. like I like hockey and I like MMA, and both of those sports are not widely available here. We have Valor Fights, which is very overpriced and always has a fight breakout in the fucking crowd, which is dumb. And then we have hockey, where the only thing you can do is watch amateur hockey. We have the Ice Bears, which is actually kind of big. We've won a lot of championships, but it's not the same because you go there and there's like 30 people in the crowd, and it's kind of hard to get a chant going with 30 people. I know because I was there last night when we were watching wrestling, and there was maybe 30 people in the room, and it's like, come on, man. So, but it worked out because all the funny shit I was saying to the wrestlers, like dudes dressed in all black, I'm like, what's up, Hot Topic? And like people laughing, and like, that's cool.
I was gonna say that. I'm like, well, with a small crowd, you get to be the funny guy.
Yeah, I'm the funny guy. Like, and Laszlo's over there saying funny stuff, and we're over just making fun of wrestlers and everything. And they would come to, we were on the rail, so they would like hit the rail, and we'd be like, hey, you all right, man? What's up? And it's like, yeah, we did it one time. There was a dude over there, and he landed, and we were the big old fat guy, and we were like, hey man, get up on the top rope and do a backflip. And he was like, if I can get back in the ring, I'll try. And he went in there, he did a backflip. He actually did it. And we were like, all right, dude. This time we were sitting next to some people that had some championship belts, and one of the wrestlers came over there, and I'm like, hit him with the belt. And the guy like grabbed the belt. And I was like, yeah. Like, it was cool. But it had a lot of fun like that. But we don't get to do that in hockey and stuff. And then if you aren't a sports fan around here, you are immediately ostracized. People just don't want to talk to you. So I don't have a lot of male friends because they're all like, football, yeah. And I'm like, yay, let's like go play some video games. Like, no, let's go see a movie, man. Let's watch this horror movie. Oh, football, and it's like, football. And I'm like, no, not for me. I'm like, and that's why
I live in a very diverse area that you can have everything. So, I mean, I'm thankful for that.
That's why I have Brandon, because Brandon, he loves football and stuff like that, but he doesn't whenever the team loses and everyone's in a bad fucking mood, like if team loses here, my wife will not get tips. Like, that's how bad it is. And like if they win,
her that tips tells you the character of a person, though. Yeah. If that's on that person, that's, yeah.
But you have Brandon, who he has a damn Thanos glove with the freaking Infinity Stones in it and stuff like that. And which is awesome. Yeah, we'll go to football games. That's fine. But he doesn't take it to heart. And then you have Laszlo, who doesn't even like sports that much. And he just likes MMA and boxing, and like, we'll go goof off somewhere. And that's fine. Like, I like that kind of people. Those are my people. Jason, he's a meathead, man. He's a big old friggin', he does MMA and stuff like that. And it's like,
and he's a weeb like me.
And he's a weeb. He'll talk anime with you for hours. And it's like, that's the kind of people I surround myself with. But then I'll make a new friend, and then I'll say something offhand like, oh, I don't really like football. Oh, fuck you, I'm not talking to you anymore. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, this is so
how dare you have an opinion and not like something? But that's kind of our world now.
I lost 6 followers because I said I like Fast and Furious movies.
How dare you like something nobody else does?
And then, but I did have everyone else come in and be like, you know what? I like Fast and the Furious movies too. And like, I had a bunch of people that were just joined in and they were like, you know what? Fuck all those people. Fast and the Furious is awesome. And I'm like, you're damn right it is. It's the dumbest shit, but it's so fun. Like that's I if you can hold my attention and entertain me, you have a good movie on your hands. Like I yeah, Goodfellas is a masterpiece. Godfather, The Shining, all those are masterpieces. But I like movies like Idle Hands and the little freaking dumb movies, I like Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson makes some great indies.
You don't like the poorly made ones there.
No, I just don't. Yeah, if you are making a film and you can't hold my attention, then no, I'm not gonna like it. Like I don't like The Exorcist. It does not hold my attention. It Follows is one of the most boring films I've ever seen.
And I love It Follows.
But it is. It's
another artistic kind of film.
It's not artistic though. It's not. It's hey, here's the first draft of a script. Let's make a movie. And it's like a lot of it didn't make any sense. And you're just like, okay, so let's make a movie that's basically slut shaming the movie. I'm like, no.
Well, it's kind of scary. The next generation of be careful what you stick your, what in.
Do it. It's so boring. And then everyone loves Mandy, and I didn't like Mandy. I'm like, I didn't like Psycho Goreman.
That's the one I still haven't seen yet. The one with Nicolas Cage.
I really feel you'll love that movie because it is just your style. It is just so
up my street.
Weird. It's so fucking weird. And I'm like, I don't like that stuff. If you
I love Nicolas Cage too.
Yeah. Oh, I love Nicolas Cage too. But when you're being weird just to be weird, it's like, no. It doesn't really add to the movie. It's like, no.
What do you think of Mom and Dad then? Or is it Dad and Mom? Mom and Dad, yeah.
Wait, Mom and Dad, the Nicolas Cage movie?
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, dude. That's top Nicolas Cage.
Yes. Okay. No. Good. I'm like, you want to talk about weird, psychotic, top of his game. Yeah.
But tell me one weird thing in that movie that did not add to that movie. Tell me one weird thing.
I love that movie.
Exactly.
I love that movie.
When you're weird, like Mandy is weird for being weird. Mom and Dad is weird, but it adds to the movie. And it's
okay. So now I got you.
Yeah, like oh my God,
The Visit. It's weird to be weird.
Like The Visit. M. Night Shyamalan, The Visit. It's weird, but all the weirdness adds to the movie, and that I can
once you get to the end. Yeah. Okay.
But Mandy is just like, let's add a random commercial for macaroni and cheese for the Cheddar Goblin. Why? What was the point of it?
Aw, now I want mac and cheese.
Yes, I have a whole bunch of it because Michaela on the drive home was like, I am craving mac and cheese, and I had to stop.
Mac and cheese.
Yeah, we literally had to stop at a gas station because it was like 12 o'clock at night, and she was just like, I want mac and cheese. And so, whenever she says she wants something, automatically
you're gonna get it.
Brain says, well, what baby wants, baby gets. And I stopped at a gas station and was like, well, here's just some mac and cheese. Because I'm whipped, man. Like she is too. So, but
if you're equally whipped, it is 100% acceptable and fine, and you're both happy. So,
yeah, I don't know. It's cool, but she's the same way I'm with weird movies, And throughout Mimic, she just kept saying, "What's the name of this movie again?" Mimic. Oh, and she's like, "Oh, because they mimic humans." And she was like, she liked it more than I did. She was just like, yeah, it was good. She's like, but honestly, you have to remember that I have just spent a week watching Fast and the Furious movies. So I'm used to action. And
where this is a slow burn, story plot. Yeah.
Yeah. Thursday we'll go see Forever Purge, which is metal.
Another action-packed one.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there a couple of kids that are killed in Mimic. You have a poor dog that's dead in Mimic. And back in that time it was unheard of killing the kids. So it was usually frowned upon, but and they don't just die; they die horrifically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it is in no way a bad film. If you like slow burn, you'll love it. You'll love Mimic.
Mm-hmm.
But I like slow burn to a point. Like, it's like The Witch. The Witch was, or the Vitch, whatever you want to call it, because they view it with two.
Yeah. The Village.
That was like a car going uphill in neutral, and then suddenly that fucker just drops, and I'm like, yeah, I actually kind of like The Witch, but at the same time, I will recognize that movie is boring as hell. Like, it's just Midsummer is another one. I loved Midsummer, but it was just slow burn. I didn't like Hereditary.
I still haven't seen Midsummer yet either.
Midsummer. I highly recommend the 3-hour director cut because it's a lot better.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but
3 hours.
and then there's Hereditary. Everyone likes Hereditary, and I didn't like it because I laughed throughout that entire film. Like, I'm sorry when
Hereditary, but they did a good job of actually creeping me out in a lot of parts, like especially the scene when the girl dies. Like that literally
cracked me up. When she
that made me sick.
Off, I laughed so hard. I woke up everyone in the house. Like, she just said, and I was like, I'm like over there cracking up, and then I felt bad.
Like who the little girl actually was. It's like, oh well, I kind of don't feel bad, but it didn't matter anyways. So.
I didn't care. It was funny to me. The way it happened was just funny. She's sticking her head out like a dog. And it's like hilarious. And
that scene makes me sick to my stomach.
I felt so bad for laughing, but at the same time, I went onto Twitter and it's actually number 3 in funniest moments that aren't supposed to be funny in horror. It's number 3. And I'm like, oh, good. I don't feel so bad now.
Like, if you think about it, the brother's reaction where he's just like, and then when he notices what happens, and then he just keeps driving.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're seriously just going to go home and you're just going to go to bed?
Yeah. Oh, I love that actor, though. I love that guy.
He does a great job.
Yeah.
Like, I will not deny Toni Collette. He did a great job.
Toni Collette's my girl. I love Toni.
I love her. And that show she was in where she had the multiple personalities.
50 States of Terror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that show.
But that dude, he's going to be in M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Old. And I
want to see that.
Excited for Old. Like, this looks so good. Like, I'm actually excited for the new Escape Room, which is weird because Escape Room is a PG-13 movie, and I'm not a big PG-13 fan. But the first one wasn't bad. And then this one looks freaking good. So I'm like, dude, this actually looks really good. It could just be that I haven't been in a theater in so long, and when the trailers pop up, everything looks good. So
I will agree to that. I can safely agree to that. It makes sense. Everyone's just excited to be outside now, and everyone seems friendlier and or bold. Very bold now. I'm being out and about. I've been asked out twice now, and it's just like very married, very married. I'm going to carry on. Thanks, pal.
I mean, I do like. Me and Michaela used to go to a movie every Thursday. That's just what we did. That was our thing. If it was a Star Wars thing, we called it Star Wars and sushi. Every time we would go get sushi and then go see Star Wars. It was our thing. And we've done it 2 Thursdays in a row. Yes. We've done it 2 Thursdays in a row now, and I'm very happy. And we will be going to go see Halloween Kills on Thursday. That will be a big one for me. I've been waiting for too fucking long for that movie, and Old will be up there. God, there's several we're gonna go see. Like, hopefully they'll put that one Antlers or whatever it's called, Antlers, I think.
Yeah. Antlers.
Hopefully they'll put that in there. So
while we're talking about these new ones coming out, what's gonna be our next film for the show?
I didn't even think
it's
about
your
that.
pick.
I didn't even think about that. I really didn't think at all about it. I was like, so
we could carry on with the survey ones. What was some of your top ones that you would pick for the survey? There, that'll help you.
What was on there? What
You had
it
Event
was
Horizon. You
Event
had The
Horizon, Shining.
Shining.
I don't want to do The Shining.
Texas
Texas
Chainsaw
Chainsaw. I don't want to do Texas
Massacre.
Chainsaw. Oh, what were the other ones I picked?
You kept saying Event Horizon.
That's probably the one I'm going to go with. I'm going to have to get in the. I mean, I don't have to be in the mood to watch that movie. I love that movie, but I'm just
So
like,
maybe it'll just be a surprise for what next season.
I've been choosing movies that I want to see, so it's like I'll probably go because I can't remember any of. I had The Shining, Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Mhm. You
the
had Dead Alive.
Dead Alive. That was the other one.
It's
Yeah, I was
been
like,
so
I'll
since
do
I've
Event.
seen
I want to
them.
do Event Horizon because I want your man to watch it. I want, you know,
He is excited for that one.
I
Like
want to do
he
that one for
is
your man because
excited.
he's my bro. He's my bro, and I want him to see what a true horror masterpiece is. Like Event Horizon is the horror masterpiece. I love
It
that.
is the sci-fi version of Hellraiser in my eyes, but done superb.
I wish they would release the director's cut. They've been saying for years, oh, we can't do it because we can't find the print of it. They're fucking lying because there is a VHS copy of the director's cut out there. It is, people have seen it, and they need to fucking release the director's cut because I want to see the horror orgy scene. I want to see it, and they will not. But without the director's cut, it's still a good movie. It's kind of a mess because the editing's off, but it's still
kind
good.
of supposed to be weird and quirky anyway, so I guess it kind of goes with it. So
I used to work at Blockbuster, and whenever October would come around, they would say, give me 2 movies that will scare me. For the kids, I would do Session 9, and for the adults, I would do Event Horizon. That would always be my 2. I mean, because normally you would say something like Halloween or The Shining, but when you say those 2 movies, you're going along with the norm, and they've probably seen it. But back when I used to work at Blockbuster, fucking no one has seen Event Horizon. And I was like, go, what's Event Horizon? And I always told them, do not read the back of the box. Do not do research. Just watch the movie. And I swear to you, I did that 90 times, and 90 times people came back and were like, this was fucking awesome. This was a great pick. And every time we had our employee picks, Event Horizon was on it. So like they loved it. And I'd had a few people come back and say, what is wrong with you? This is a great movie, but this is terrifying. And I'm like, yes. Yes. And it's got Sam Neill.
Well, then I did my job. Yes, Sam Neill.
Yes, Sam Neill's my boy. After that, I would say that my next one will be Dead Alive, because that's just a freaking classic, man. And it's
we'll get more excited for that one. She loves Dead Alive. So
but what would your next one be? Because that's one thing that I've had a suggestion that we give 2 weeks in advance. We give mine and then yours, we do 2 weeks. We get the next.
Oh, they want advance. Why? Because they want to watch them ahead of time.
Yes, that's actually exactly why. They say, can you give me 2 weeks notice so I know what we're watching next? So next week will be Event Horizon.
So people are watching these movies with us now, and we didn't know this. Oh, okay.
Watch. So next will be Event Horizon, but what will your next one be? Because that's going to be your. Wait, are you going still down the survey list, or are you doing?
No, I can steer away now because we can continue with the survey list. I'm fine.
Oh, that's up to you, because we don't have to do the survey list because we have now watched the two that people really wanted us to watch. People wanted the faculty, people wanted Mimic.
And now we're about to do Event Horizon, which was another one up there. So
no one really wanted us to do The Shining. No one. They do now that they know you haven't seen it. But people wanted us to do The Shining. They didn't. They wanted us. They didn't. I didn't hear anyone say anything about Dead Alive. I didn't see anyone say anything about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So you can deviate.
Mort, I know she really wants us to watch Dead Alive, and she flat out even told me in our movie watch group that she's like, "Would you do this one? You tell me," because she loves that movie.
It's phenomenal film. Like it is. Up until I saw that movie, Bad Taste was my favorite Peter Jackson movie. And then I saw Heavenly Creatures and I liked it, but not as much as Bad Taste. And then I saw Dead Alive and I was just like, this is zombie slapstick and it works. I love this. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of it. So,
I actually kind of want to watch one that we don't have on the service.
Then go ahead and do it because we don't need the service.
Well, it was the one that we had mentioned before too, is that I really want to watch Return of the Living Dead. So
oh yeah, no. Yeah, we'll do that. Rich will be happy about that. Rich has been wanting us to watch that for a while. Rich is like, you gotta do Return of the Living Dead.
One of my favorites anyway, and it's so good. Yeah.
And I simp hard for trash. So and so does my simp sister Cassie. She's simps with me for that. But she also simps my wife, so it's kind of weird. But I do too. So but it's like
I would hope you simp your wife.
But yeah, I love Return of the Living Dead. At some point, we have to do Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead as well. Possibly forego Dead Alive to do that because I have been wanting to watch that movie so much recently. Like I've been really wanting to dive into that movie because I'm remembering
just did Army of the Dead.
Yeah. And I'm remembering things from that movie that I was like, oh my God, that was brilliant. And then I'm talking to Laszlo last night in the car. I don't think he's seen it. So I'm like, dude, you need to watch that movie. It is great.
That's almost on par with me not watching The Shining yet. So.
No, that's not on par at all. The Shining is a classic. Dawn of the Dead is not so much. Like, no, that's you not seeing The Shining is like someone not seeing The Godfather or something. Which let me guess, you haven't seen The Godfather either.
I've seen The Godfather. It's just been a long time.
Like that's
a long time.
Yeah, people used to say that about Citizen Kane too. It's like, you haven't seen Citizen Kane, you haven't seen all the movies. And I'm like, I've seen Citizen Kane.
Oh God, it's been a long time since I've seen that one. Citizen Kane was one of those movies where it's like, yeah, I can see why people would. It's not my cup of tea though. So
no, it's very talky and boring, but at the same time, it's like it's very entertaining. So I like Citizen Kane. But no, we'll do Event Horizon. And Event Horizon will be
Event Horizon and then Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, and then I'll decide by the next one. I may do Dawn of the Dead just so we can do Return of the Living Dead and then Dawn of the Dead because that's an awesome idea.
And then we can do Dead Alive. So all the movies.
But Dawn of the Dead was a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. And technically, Return of the Living Dead is a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. Technically. So, yeah. It's they do offhandedly mention that. So they're like, oh yeah, you know that movie Night of the Living Dead. Well, that was a true story. But yeah. All right, Event Horizon's next. So
I am ready for it.
Yeah.
So
let's get her done.
Maybe we can get some commentary from my hubby since it'll be his first watch.
Just write down everything he says and then choose
report it.
Yeah, choose the top 5 and say like top 5 quotes from the hubby. And hubby. Like, yeah, that'd be hilarious because people be like, yeah, because like me and him together, we were making fun of some stuff on Army of the Dead. We were so mean to that movie. It was so bad though. God.
I like the movie a lot. It's just I don't like how long it was.
Yeah.
It would have been so good if it wasn't so damn long.
I think the more and more I think about it, like I hate that movie. Like it was. I love Batista.
It's on the opposite. Mine's gone the opposite way, where it's like I appreciate the movie.
I love Batista and everything. It's just I was okay with the tiger and I was okay with the zombies kind of being organized. But the more I think about the zombie horse and the way he rides the zombie horse, I'm like, I think I hate this movie. Like it's there was just some ridiculous crap in that movie, and I'm like,
Remember, I like cheesy though. Still, first I'm gonna have a different opinion.
Oh well, it happens. I just didn't. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. That's okay. I don't think it was made for me. So
Yeah.
I think it was made for Zack Snyder fans who thought that
His fans.
the Snyder cut was great. No, Snyder cut was still boring. So sorry. Oh, dude, new trailer for Suicide Squad looks freaking awesome. Yeah. All right. But okay.
Well, we're gonna close it on out then, and want to thank you all for joining us on another little channel of horrors. Also, like and subscribe if you haven't. And hey, thank you. We have 105 subscribers right now, so we appreciate all of our followers. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate every single one of you. And go ahead, leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. Hey, give us movie ideas. Maybe we could go on a shit binge one and force DC to watch the movies he can't stand.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That'll be a bad one. You will hear such bad shit from me. Like, I will, because if I do that, you know damn well I won't hold back. And I will just destroy this movie, and I will make everyone hate us.
Maybe we'll wait for that one then.
Yeah.
But
Like,
anyways.
Whenever I voice my opinion and it's like not a good one, like I say awful things. Oh,
Where I'm the voice of reason. But yes, you can find me on my Twitter, which is Charcy Lux, or my Instagram, which is Charcy87. And DC, where can they find you? Usually at home, in bed.
Yeah, usually like on Twitter sometimes. You're just gonna get a bunch of memes and pictures of my wife. That's all you're getting. Like I don't really do anything else. I'm kind of a boring guy, really. Oh yeah, that one is Death Curse Pod. You can find it on, if you want to, you can go on Instagram, but I don't ever post on there because I hate Instagram. So yeah, that's not gonna work for me.
Thanks for joining us again, and we all hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
I can't find the button.